Hey there and welcome. So today we're going to break down a real everyday English conversation. Seriously, we're going to give you the exact words, the simple grammar, everything you need to go from, just standing there silently to feeling totally confident when you meet someone new. You ready? Let's dive in. Starting a conversation in a new language can feel, well, kind of scary, right? It's like, where do you even begin? What are you supposed to say? But hey, don't worry. This whole explainer is going to be your simple guide to doing it smoothly, naturally. We're going to make this super easy for you. Okay, first up, let's meet our two speakers, Alina and Amy. We're going to watch their entire conversation from start to finish. And while you're watching, try to pay close attention not just to what they're saying, but how they keep the chat going. You know how they stop it from just dying out? It's way simpler than you think. Let's check it out. So Elena kicks things off with this super friendly, really direct opening. Hi there. It just feels a little warmer than a simple hi, you know? And Amy's response? It's perfect. She answers the question, yes, I am, but then she adds a little extra piece of info. This is my first day. And honestly, adding that one extra detail, that is the absolute key to keeping a conversation moving forward. So Alina gives this really warm welcome, and then boom, she moves straight to the most classic conversation-starting question there is. Super smooth. Simple, clear answer. Perfect. And just like that, the conversation is officially underway. Okay, now you gotta notice this clever little trick. Elena shares her own name, I'm Elena, before she asks for more information. This is such a brilliant way to make the whole thing feel fair and balanced, not like an interrogation where you're just firing questions at someone. And Amy just gives a really clear answer. She politely corrects Elena's guess and gives her the right info. No big deal. What a great follow-up question. This shows that Elena is actually listening, that she's genuinely curious, and that right there is how you start to build a real connection. Oh, I love this part. See, Amy doesn't just say no, she adds details. It's small and quiet. And then this is the best part. She asks a question back. And right there, that is the secret to a great conversation. It's like you're playing catch. You always have to pass the ball back by asking a question. Just a quick, easy exchange. Finding something you have in common, that's always a fantastic moment in a new conversation, isn't it? And Amy's Me Too is just the simplest, most natural way to agree. And just like that, things come to an end. The conversation has to wrap up. Alina gives a clear reason. The teacher is here. And then she just uses a friendly, casual phrase to say goodbye. Easy. And Amy responds in the same way. See ya. It's the perfect, friendly reply. And there you have it. A complete, totally natural conversation from start to finish. All right, so now that we've seen the whole thing play out, let's rewind a bit and break it down piece by piece. First up, let's look at exactly how Elena got that conversation started. So the strategy here is really simple. You start with a friendly greeting, something like, hi there, and you follow it up with an easy, open question, like, are you new here? That combination right there, it's like the perfect key to unlock a new conversation. And it works anywhere, a new school, a new job, even at a party. Okay, let's move on to the next part and see how this all builds. So once you've said hello, it's time to actually get to know the person. This is really the heart of the conversation, right? It's where you exchange all that basic info. Take a look at this list. I want you to think of it like this. WHA questions, what and where, they help you gather new information. And then yes/no questions like are you or is that, they help you confirm that information. A really great conversation, it's going to mix both of those in. Now, this part is so important. When Alina asks, is that a big city? Amy could have just said, no, it isn't. And hey, that's 100% grammatically correct. But the conversation might have just stalled right there. By adding it's small and quiet, she gives Elena more to work with. It makes the whole conversation so much more engaging. So remember this, always try to add a little bit of extra info. Okay, let's talk about the mechanics for a second. The grammar. Did you happen to notice one little verb that just kept popping up over and over again in that conversation? Let's zoom in on what is probably the most essential piece of grammar here, the verb to be. And this chart just shows you how hardworking the verb to be really is. I mean, look at it. We see it in positive sentences. I am. This is. My name's. We see it in the negative. It isn't. And we see it being used to ask questions. Are you? Is that? Seriously, if you master this one verb, it's like getting a superpower for simple, everyday English conversations. All right, and finally, every conversation has to end eventually, right? So let's look at how Alina and Amy wrapped things up without it feeling all awkward. These are just fantastic, casual goodbyes. See you later, or even just see you. They're perfect for when you know you're going to see the person again, like at school or at work. They're super friendly, totally low pressure, and they just end the conversation on a really positive note. So let's pull all that together. From just that one short chat, you now have 4 essential tools in your pocket: a perfect opener, the right questions to keep things flowing, the key grammar to hold it all together, and a really smooth way to say goodbye. This isn't just some boring theory, you guys. This is a practical toolkit that you can literally start using today. And that brings us to one final thought. Just imagine you're Elena, and the teacher hasn't arrived yet. You've just found out you're both 12 and that Amy is from this small, quiet city. What would you ask her next to keep this new friendship going? Something to think about, right? Thanks so much for joining me.